Hey, man.
One time. Why'd you do that?
I was,
Hey, man. Jeez. You seem like you're standing outside of a 7-Eleven, and I'm walking in to just pay for some gas, and you're just standing out there just,
hey, man.
Hey, man.
You want some ice?
Want some ice?
I'm in the ice machine.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Hey, man. You want some ice? My eyebrows are frozen.
Dude, you have a trench coat. You have a trench coat. You open it up and you're like, you want some ice? But it's summer, so it's all melted. You just got a soggy trench coat. Hey man, you want some ice? And you're like, oh shoot. And you go back over to the ice machine.
I drop the old ones in. I'm like, it'll freeze back up.
Put new bags. Hey man, you want some ice?
Wait, don't walk in that door.
What?
Don't walk in the door. I gotta get my ice. Hold that door, Jim. No, hold it shut. Hold it shut.
Why did you say ice? I'm so confused. Hey, man, you want some ice?
I was just thinking what's outside gas stations. There's gas and ice.
And he's just offering you what's already there.
Gas, ice, and red box.
He's got nothing. Hey, man, you want the other guys on DVD? What? Or Blu-ray? What if there's a guy standing next to the red box who has like older films?
Yeah. Like on VHS.
No, I was thinking on DVD, but that's worse. He's like, hey
trying
man,
to get some DVDs.
you
like,
looking for VHS?
Hey, I have that movie on VHS.
You're looking for the classic film Look Who's Talking with John Travolta and a talking baby? I got it right here.
Even rewound it for you.
Rewound it. I even rewound it. Rewound. I hate you.
The drug business works just like any other business. It's just illegal.
So what we do is we start elementary students on books. In high school, we get them hooked on cocaine.
One option's illegal, but it's like, I'll take my chances.
You haven't finished that yet?
I haven't finished that yet.
I don't feel bad spoiling something that's been out for 10 years. I don't know what to tell you. I know about their band. Contra band?
Oh.
Things I learned last night. TILLN it. All right, this is a great episode.
Have you heard of Rick Ross?
Shut up. Rick Ross? Are you serious?
I don't think you know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
His name's also he goes by Ricky Ross, which you could probably guess that. But also Freeway or Freeway Rick, which is my favorite.
Freeway Rick.
Yeah, I like Freeway Rick because I can't say it.
Freeway Rick.
That's a tough one.
Freeway Rick. That is hard.
So Rick Ross, you've probably heard the name Rick Ross.
Wickwass.
Wickwass. You probably
have heard of Rick Ross.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, his dad is Bob.
Oh no.
Oh no. We had a whole episode about his dad.
Yeah, Bob's actually short for Rick. This is the same episode.
Bob is short for Rick's 4 letters in 1 syllable. And they were like, we got to cut that down.
We got to cut that down to Bob. Not even close.
You could just cut the K off. It would still be Rick.
Still be Rick.
It would still be.
No one would know. You're shortening it. What about Bob? So Rick Ross. Also, you probably heard the name Rick Ross, and you probably would associate, if you don't know about the real Rick Ross, you probably associate the name Rick Ross to the rapper Rick Ross.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so he's named after the real Rick Ross, Rick Freeway.
Oh, he took the name.
Yeah, and the real Rick Ross.
The rapper took the name of Freeway Rick.
Yeah, and the real Rick Ross is pretty upset about it, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh.
But the real Rick Ross, he was a drug trafficker in the mid-1980s who established an empire in Los Angeles that is estimated at the time to have been worth more than $900 million, which adjusted for inflation is over $2 billion today.
Jeez.
And he's arguably the largest drug trafficker in American history. And And this is his story.
And that was in the 80s.
That was in the 80s. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's tell the story. Rick Ross.
Please do.
Rick Ross, he went to high school at Susan Miller Dorsey High School in Los Angeles, which was a more affluent high school. He got there on the team, on the tennis team, because he... I know, a little surprising.
Okay.
He joined the tennis team. He got recruited because sometime in...
Can I see a picture of Rick Ross?
Yeah.
I swear if you pull up the wrapper. Okay.
So sometime...
He got a headshot with a suit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He's pretty sharp. So sometime in his middle school career, he realized he's not going to go pro in basketball. He didn't have a shot at going pro in football.
Sure.
But he said, I'm pretty decent at tennis. Maybe I got a shot at tennis. So he just started playing a lot of tennis, getting better at it. And then he knew Dorsey was a popular tennis school.
Yeah.
So he would just go play tennis outside the high school until he got recruited. And so he got recruited to
By
go
the
to
high
school,
school.
by the high school to play tennis for the school. And so he was playing on this high school team. And he started getting
Is it a private school?
I don't think it's a private school, but I think they still recruited him to come across district.
Yeah.
And so...
illegal, unethical, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's the 80s.
No one cared.
No one cared. So he started getting recruited by a bunch of colleges. And he was pretty close to getting full ride college scholarships for tennis. He was really good at the game. The issue was the colleges couldn't offer him a scholarship because he was illiterate, which apparently you can't go to school somewhere if you don't know anything. Apparently you're not allowed to learn if you haven't learned a lot already.
But how is he illiterate?
So he grew up in the Los Angeles school system, and before he was going to the Dorseys, he was on the wrong side of the 101, which in LA, especially in that area, the 101 was like the dividing line.
Right.
And he was on the wrong side of it. And so he was he grew up in the heart of like Crip territory, and the school system just failed him. And so he never learned how to read. Got into high school, no idea how to read. But he was really good at tennis. So he got to go to the school, but still throughout going to the school, he never learned to read. And so colleges wouldn't take him. And so that was in the middle of his senior year. He found out he didn't have a shot at going to college because of that. So that's when he kind of slid out of his high school and was like, well, I'm not going to go hang out there. I'm not going to play tennis and invest all this if I don't got a shot of going to college for it and obviously going pro. There's no point. So he started hanging around back in his neighborhood where he grew up with a bunch of street racers. And he ended up winning a street race, getting a pretty nice car out of it. And then slowly through that process, it was kind of like that kind of just slow fall where it's like he got in from street racing, then kind of got into a little bit of like Grand Theft Auto and then like the game. And then he got into actual Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. He's got to learn how to do it from...
Yeah. Play the game and then play the game, you know?
Play real life sports. It's in the game.
So,
what if that was like Nick? You know how Nickelodeon did the Play 60 thing, where they're like, "Go outside and play for 60 minutes."
Yeah.
Remember that they would do like a national day where they would just make a 60-minute timer on TV.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Go play outside
for 60 minutes."
You know what I did?
What?
Turn to Cartoon Network. I was like, I'm not gonna watch your dumb.
Switch the channel.
Oh, it's a timer. I'm not gonna do that.
60
I'm
minutes.
gonna watch Dexter's Laboratory.
60 minutes. I can watch so much cartoons. In
60 minutes. I can watch an episode of 60 minutes.
Why would I watch this 60-minute countdown when I can watch 60 minutes the show?
As a child, you walk in on your third grader watching 60 minutes. Remember? And it's just, do you know about the conflict in Serbia?
You're sitting there eating your Lucky Charms. You turn around to your mom and spilling out your face. You're like, hey, have you heard what's happening in Iran right now?
Oh, my gosh.
Do you remember when Nick tried to do the Nick News thing?
Oh, yeah.
That was the worst. Oh, and it was so like dignified. Oh, gosh.
You know what I watched a lot of was Nick at Night.
Yeah. Because you felt adult.
Yeah.
But they weren't
They weren't.
weren't.
They weren't at all.
But you
It
felt.
was Full House.
Yeah.
And the Nick at Night specials were great.
Yep.
Because they would do this like in between little thing of like, we're here in this town. You know where they came to? They came to a town 10 minutes away from us.
Yeah.
Because Marionville, Missouri has white squirrels.
Really?
That's literally what they're famous for.
White? Interesting.
They're
Why? Are they
they're
albino?
squirrels, but they're just white. And I don't know the history of why they ended up there.
Yeah.
But Marionville has white squirrels.
But Nick News talked about it.
Nick at Night came to Marionville to be like, we're in Marionville, the home of the white squirrels. Apparently there's only one other city in the country that has white squirrels.
So through this process, he kind of just started falling into like the black market, like not anything super serious yet. I mean, Grand Theft Auto and some minor drug dealing, but nothing insane. And then he met, this is such a weird connection. He met an upholstery teacher at a local community college. And they kind of hit it off, became friends. And
an upholstery teacher?
Yeah. And this teacher, which can we talk for a second about community college courses?
Yeah.
Why?
Right. No, I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. So this
Were they arts and crafts at community college? You can take a business intro course. Also at noon, we've got sewing. And at 3:00, you've got medieval whatever.
It's literally like
Speaking
camp
of,
rec.
the other day I was driving in my apartment complex. I was coming home. I wasn't just driving around. Just taking a few laps. So, just patrolling the property. And
Neighborhood watch. We don't have a neighborhood watch here, sir. You need to stop. I'm neighborhood watch.
I want to get like decals on my car and everything. Just like those flashing yellow lights. Just like, I'm the neighborhood watch. Don't worry. And then my car gets broken into. Anyway, so I was driving home and I slammed my brakes because there was a medieval knight in the building over there. Not in the building, but like in the parking lot, like a medieval, like he was LARPing that afternoon
By himself?
Well, he was, getting out of his Kia. Kia
so he
Forte.
did it. He left his LARP in full armor.
Yes. Had a helmet.
And just drove down the highway.
Had a helmet, a shield that he's pulling out of the trunk. I mean, like.
I love it. I respect it, man.
Where do you LARP in North Kansas City?
I don't know, some park somewhere.
Okay.
Just find a park and find a bunch of other people who.
See, I just expected you to shame them with me, and you just went full on, like, I know. Yeah,
I think LARPing is fun. I've never actually done it. I mean, I guess I kind of did when I did the military things with Patrick and Kevin. So I guess I kind of did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fun.
So anyway.
I respect it.
So did you have a military code class at your community college?
Yes.
Great.
So
he meets an upholstery teacher.
He meets an upholstery teacher who also
changes his life.
coincidentally sold cocaine on the side.
Perfect. That's how community college courses work.
Yeah. So here's what he taught in his class. He said, "Okay, class, here's how you open the upholstery in your van to fill with cocaine."
You walk into your sewing class, and your teacher's this frail old lady who is just like, line it up just like this, and she just, she comes over and helps you on your machine, and you're like, line it up, and she just whispers in your ear, "You want some ice?" And you look up, just drenched pockets.
And she's like, "Ma'am."
No, that's okay, Miss Soggy Pockets.
Soggy pockets.
Did you?
Oh my gosh.
Did you see Miss Castleberry's pockets today? Oh, dude, yeah, those were drenched.
Soaked.
Yeah, those look like those were Pacific pockets right there. I'll tell you what. Okay.
Those are some Pacific pockets, and I can tell she wasn't perspirating.
No. What if that's where you sweat? What if you just got
your pocket
What if he's got
lines?
sweaty thighs? Oh yeah, no, those are just my thighs. I just have sweaty thighs. Yeah, it's a real problem. I got to see a dermatologist about it. Yeah, that's why I'm going to my 4:00 dermatology class. He also sells cocaine. So the upholstery teacher sells him cocaine.
Yeah, so his upholstery teacher reveals to him that he deals cocaine. And so he gave Ross a small amount to sell. And Ross realized that you could make a lot more off cocaine than you could off the other street drugs that he was used to selling.
Off of upholstery.
Off of upholstery. He was selling upholstery at that point. No, but he realized it was much more profitable. And so he held on to his profits and began buying more from his upholstery teacher to sell more and more.
But he didn't do the cocaine.
No, he just sold it. And so he eventually came back to his upholstery teacher and was asking for more cocaine than his teacher was willing to sell him. He was like, I'm not going to get to that much. That's dangerous. That's
now
dangerous
we're moving
levels.
into a different kind of business setup here.
Yes. So then his teacher refers Ross to his supplier, which is a guy by the name of Ivan Arugias, I think.
Okay. Which course did he teach?
Upholstery 201.
There it is, yeah.
It's the next.
You know,
next
son,
level.
I think you're ready to move up. If you keep this up, you might graduate community college.
We might have to give you an associate's. You're going to have to go on to a leadership college.
In associates.
The wink. And so he was able to get him much higher qualities of cocaine at a much better price.
Quantities or qualities?
Quantities.
Okay.
Much higher quantities at a much better price.
Yeah. So he's making a bigger margin.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
how do you make cocaine?
I don't know. I think it's just the tops of powdered donuts.
You just buy those powdered donuts, you go home and just shaking little mini donuts.
You just got to shake off all the powder. I don't know. I think obviously it comes from some kind of plant and then they refine it somehow. I don't know exactly how it works. Maybe it comes from cocoa.
Okay.
I don't know. I really don't. I'm just shooting in the dark here.
Okay.
Speaking of shooting in the dark, about 8 months after Ross found this supplier, Ivan, he was shot in the back and forced him out of the cocaine business. But luckily his brother-in-law, Henry, took over his business. And
and Ivan.
Yeah. And became Ross's number one supplier.
Okay.
And so this became kind of his business for a little while. He was doing the cocaine thing. But then he discovered a man by the name of Danilo Blandin, who was a Nicaraguan exile.
I hate the way you say names. Danilo Blandin. Rick Ross. His brother-in-law, Henry. Danilo. I just hate it. It's so.
I'm trying to enunciate.
You just go. I see the panic in your eyes, and you sound it out. You sound it out. That's exactly what you're doing. And you pass it off as enunciation, but we all know what you're doing. It's not that good. Quit. Are you embarrassed? Classic.
So Ross, he was able to go directly to Blandin.
Dude, the face you just made looks like you did cocaine. We're like, Blandin. What was that?
Because he was going directly to Blandin, he didn't have this big distributor network.
Yeah.
So he was able to undercut the price by thousands for cocaine. And so...
What was he just putting this in the back of it, like in the back of his trunk and driving home?
I actually don't know.
Like loaded up with cocaine?
Loaded up with cocaine. Yeah, he was...
How you moving that?
At the height, in 1982, he receives the name Freeway Ricky because what he was doing now is he was buying properties all on the 101 freeway and to operate his business out of.
Interesting.
And so they named him Freeway because he was all on the freeway. And at this point, he was reaching the height of his kind of business
empire.
Yeah. Did
he have people who were like? So he's hiring people.
Obviously, yeah.
What do you contract work out?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the drug business works just like any other business. It's just illegal. So he had a distribution line. He had
did he have a
delivery
Patreon?
teams? He had a Patreon. He sells it. He's like, hey, make sure to support me on Patreon. Keep me doing this out of the street.
Yeah, support me on Patreon. I just want to reach more people with drugs. Your monthly contribution. You'll get ad-free Coke. Your monthly contribution helps me get this in the hands of more middle schoolers. And I just want to say thank you for that.
So he claimed.
How many times am I going to tee you up for stuff?
I didn't even know you teed me up. What'd you tee me up for?
If you would like to support us on Patreon. Are you serious? Dude, I try to make this so smooth. I've done it so much. I did a merch one time. I set you up for this stuff, okay. And then you just go, I don't even know what you're talking about. Do you know that we have a Patreon?
No, let's explain this to me.
Oh my!
Explain this to me.
What did you just say? Let's explain this to me.
Let's explain.
Let us both.
Let us explain this to me.
So okay,
for our listeners,
we have a Patreon that you can support us at. It helps us keep doing this show. Clearly, I need all the help I can get. This is what I work with. So we also have a Discord. Was this given to us by someone in the Discord?
This one was not.
You just found this on your own?
Yeah, I found this one on my own. Perusing? This is like the old days.
Okay, great. So whatever. Anyway, we won't give kids drugs. So support us on Patreon. If you don't, we might. Hey, we haven't done anything illegal, but if you don't support us on Patreon, we're going to start. My manager doesn't watch this. We're fine. So text TILLN to 66866. You get ad-free episodes, early access, behind-the-scenes stuff, a private Discord channel, and also you don't have to experience advertisements like this one.
Okay, great.
You don't have to say, okay, great. We can just leave a pause and then you can just keep going. Oh my gosh, I'm teaching you how to podcast over here.
Okay, great.
Okay, whatever, dude. So he's got these houses along the freeway.
Yeah, and so he's distributing.
So almost at any exit. It's like a Starbucks.
Yeah, actually. And he's distributing directly to the Bloods and the Crips.
Playing both sides.
Yeah, playing both sides. And he's selling significantly less than the average price at $10,000 per kilo.
So are the gangs then his distribution? Like they...
Sort of.
I
mean, they're not selling and coming back to him and being like, here's a cut of the profits. He's selling to them.
Right. They're going and selling,
and then they're coming
higher.
back and buying. Yeah. So he's not. He's at this point. He's not selling directly to the consumer anymore. He is a big house distributor.
Yeah, but who's he buying it from still?
He's buying it from Blandon, the Nicaraguan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is Blandon getting it from?
We'll get to that.
Oh.
So he's selling to the Bloods and Crips. At this time, he's severely undercutting the average street price. So he's selling it for $10,000 per kilo. Which is lower than normal. But at this point, he's purchasing 1,000 pounds of cocaine a week. And so to give you perspective, a kilo is about 2 pounds.
Okay.
And so he's
doing like...
He claims that during this period...
$5 million a week?
He's claiming during this period he was selling $3 million a day of cocaine.
Wow.
So he was moving.
And we're trying to get stuff on our podcast, dude. We're in the wrong business. We just started a media company. Dude, we should be in the cocaine industry.
So he, what made him so successful was the way he handled his money. And there was two reasons he did it. One, he said, I could go take this money and buy jeans, or I could take this money and save it and buy more cocaine or property. And so what he was doing is he was buying all this property along the 101. He was buying houses and businesses. And so he had an apartment complex at one point. Like he had legitimate
So he had businesses that, I mean, I guess you got to wash that money.
Yeah. But he said he was making, during the same time, he was making $400,000 flipping houses every month. And so he's like, I was making
just a
really
hustler.
good money doing that. He's like, it was nothing compared to what he was making in the drug game.
Right. And on top of that, he was selling essential oils on the side. And he was at like a diamond level, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, quick question on MLMs, because I saw one happening at Starbucks yesterday.
Tell me about it.
Do you think that churches are just MLMs? And hear me out, right? Because you're like, okay, there's all these promises of if you just stick with this long enough, you'll become a diamond level person, right?
Yeah.
Let's call that a lead pastor. You're with me. You immediately are with me, right? And then like you got your like medallion level, right? That's a youth pastor, associate pastor, executive pastor, whatever. But above the diamond, right? At the end of the day, the denominations still run the stuff.
They still run the show,
right?
Yeah,
right.
And
so
who runs the denomination?
And there's the whole thing of like, hey, this is your own business kind of thing. If you work at this long enough, then you can go start your own church.
Start your own denomination.
Well, that's also true. You could do that.
I've thought about this before. I genuinely think that multi-level marketing systems were built off the evangelism model.
Off of the discipleship model. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think
how are they doing discipleship better than we are? It's crazy.
I don't know if you could say they are.
Well, because they are though.
They're making more money off of it.
Well, no, they're making more money. But I mean, like the way that they are, like they have coaches, and it's like this person has 4 people that they are intentionally spending time with toward a goal.
I suppose.
Right? Now they're discipling them. Now, not in a biblical sense, but they are discipling them in the way of doing life and quote unquote business. Yeah. So in a way, because they're contributing to their formation. Yeah. Which maybe, what would you call it?
Maybe we need a reverse dip now. They dipped on evangelism. Maybe the church needs to dip on their discipleship.
They've been trying to.
But they've been taking the wrong sides of it.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that I know. Sorry, I kind of slipped into serious mode of but look at the discipleship model. Yeah. But I am very very passionate about it. So
yeah,
I saw if you're I didn't catch her name. I want to say it's like it seemed like their names were Abigail and Isabel. Maybe.
It's interesting that you said that because we're supposed to shout out our Patreon Abigail Joy.
Are we really
today? I wonder if it's the same one.
Hold on. You're bringing up Patreon right now. We already did this 5 minutes ago.
Well, I just did because you brought it up.
Okay. Abigail, thanks for supporting our Patreon. Also, thank you for buying our merchandise. See how... Now I feel like I've got to be over obvious about this stuff. Okay. Look, I put a little golf ball on the tee for you. You want to go ahead and smack that on out there? Like we're at a podcast driving range right now. Look, gosh. Abigail bought some merchandise. We have merchandise. Tim, why don't you tell them about it?
You can text TILLN to 66866. We got t-shirts. We got hats, hoodies, mugs, stickers, the whole 9. And you'll be supporting the show when you do that. So text TILLN to 66866. Oh my gosh. So Rick Ross, making a ton of money off of his cocaine business.
Yeah.
But also beginning to establish
cocaine industry, if you will.
Cocaine, yeah. Beginning to establish some pretty legitimate businesses on the side.
Because do you think the goal is to eventually get out of the cocaine stuff? I
think so.
Eventually, you want to go legit, right? Mm-hmm. That way, you can't go to jail.
Yeah.
Those are your 2 options.
And he was not planning on spending any money lavishly on himself. Instead, he was spending on the businesses and on buying more cocaine. And he said that's what he attributed to his success. He said he saw a lot of other dealers at the low level he was at. Going out and they're making lots of money off of cocaine,
right?
Because the street price was over $10,000 a kilo, so they're making lots of money. He said they would just blow them all on cars and clothes and whatever. He said I just bought more cocaine and sold more cocaine, and he said so I just kept doing that. Eventually, I was making millions doing this, and he said that's why so many of them stay at that lower level. He said, I just saved my money and spent it on more drugs. But his reasoning he gave...
Which is what Dave Ramsey wants you to do, by the way.
Save your money, spend it on more drugs.
It's live like no one else so that you can do drugs like no one else. That's actually the Financial Peace slogan. It's, rice and beans. And then one day it's rice and Coke.
Rice and Coke. Yeah. So the reason he gave for not spending lavishly on himself, though, he later told in an interview, he said, quote, "We were hiding money from our mothers." And he said he didn't want his mom to know that he had this drug empire.
The reason I didn't spend money is that I was trying to buy stuff online, but I didn't know how to read. So never could find that buy now button because I'm illiterate.
Gosh dang it. Oh my gosh. So he expanded his drug empire outside of LA. And he ended up getting across the country. He was in cities including St. Louis, New Orleans, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland, Seattle. He was pretty much across the country. He said his
Cleveland. Chicago. Milwaukee. He was in North Carolina and North Carolina. Oh man. Did you like that Milwaukee I threw in there just pronounced regular?
So Chicago and Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Cleveland.
I'm a professional, so.
Speaking of Cleveland, he said Ohio was his best-selling state. He loved Ohio because apparently they loved cocaine.
Yeah. They call it cocaine Canton. I'll tell you what. Did you notice that all the major cities start with C?
Ooh.
Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, Canton, Toledo.
There's a reason.
There's a reason.
The cocaine.
It's the cocaine.
So he ended up getting his distribution line into 42 cities across America.
Wow.
And his success,
now is that he's just selling it and they're moving it, or is he like, hey, go to that city? Is he directing that?
I think he was directly he had people selling to gangs in those cities. So he had a distribution line that was distributing to a gang in that city.
And again, he's still this whole time getting it from Blandon.
Yeah, in Nicaragua.
So Blandon is providing $6 million worth of coke each week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where's Blandon getting it from?
We'll get to that.
I feel like I know the answer, but I want to get there. But go ahead.
We'll get to that. So, questions began to arise at how Rick Ross is able to be this successful. He has over $900 million in cocaine revenue, which is $2 billion today. How is he able to move this much cocaine?
He's the Jeff Bezos of cocaine.
Yes. And so people are like, how's he able to move this much cocaine and not get, one, caught by the police, two, and not get taken out by other drug dealers? And so in recent interviews, he's talked about both of these things. One, he said, he's like, I just didn't make enemies. He said, and this is literally what he says. He said, I just treated people the way I wanted to be treated. And he said, nobody had a problem with me.
I just followed the golden rule,
But literally.
I mean, sure, I was getting communities hooked on addictive drugs and destroying lives forever. But honestly, I just treated people the way that I wanted to, Sure, I was.
Here's the thing with that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with that. He said, he's like, I made sure, I was never someone, he said, there's some drug dealers out there who are out there finding people who's never done coke. They'd be like, they'd find someone who was addicted to weed and get them on coke. He said, I never did that. He said, all I ever did, he's like, if someone was already hooked, he said, I would sell it to them. He said, I was never a first time seller. And so he said, these were people who were already addicts. And he said, I was just providing their addiction to continue. He said, the reality of it is they were going to get it somewhere. And he's like, so it doesn't matter if it was me or somebody else. These are addicts, they're going to get it. And that's their own personal choice.
Yeah. I think actually a youth pastor in Ohio used that excuse to provide. I mean, and it's kind of like parents who let their kids drink, and it's like, if they're going to drink, they're going to drink anyway. They're going to go out on Friday night and drink. I would rather them get drunk at the house on, the cheap wine that we bought from Walmart.
Yeah. I'm not saying it was moral. I'm just saying it was his morals. So
he's like, look, I bought them houses on the freeway. I knew all their moms.
Yeah, he's like, but and he was very careful. He's like, I just didn't make enemies. He said, he's like, the way I was able to sell to both the Crips and the Bloods is he said I made sure they liked me, and he said so I was just friendly with them and I treated them well and they covered my back. And he said so I never had to worry about that.
And he sold it pretty cheap though.
He did sell it pretty cheap. He did sell it pretty cheap. So he was just fair with stuff. But then as far as the police is concerned, the LA sheriff during the height of this said that he has better technology than we do.
The LA sheriff said that about Rick Ross.
Yeah.
He's got better technology.
Mm-hmm. Because he had all these police scanners, so he would know where the police was at all times. And he's got
one of those Blackberries. I don't know how we're going to keep up. I mean, the criminals are out here with, he's got a stylist, whatever that is. I thought that was a person who would dress you. I thought that's what that was. I was informed. That's how I imagine police officers. I was informed. I was informed that is not, in fact, what it is.
That's a different thing.
So we in here in LA County are going to do two things. We're going to stop the spread of drugs. And we're going to mask up. All right.
Mask up. Oh, gosh.
He's ahead of his time. Who knows?
Way ahead of his time. Everyone's like, what's he talking about? You
can accidentally breathe in cocaine.
So they, and he also had these voice scramblers. So whenever he was doing deals, he would scramble their voices so they couldn't hear what they were talking about or what they were saying. So they couldn't get any evidence on him, even if they could get him. So he had a very, very clean system set up. He was really good at the money laundering system. He had his ducks in a row. And so the LA County couldn't get anything on him. And even if they couldn't find him because he knew where they were at all times. And so he was just away from them.
Nice.
But eventually...
Can you quit yelling that?
But...
Thank you. It's straight up into the microphone, and it's just... But... And it's kind of like, man... Thank you.
So
First of all, we had to bleep it when you say it. Say tushy instead. Tushy.
One day, everything kind of collapsed.
Sorry, it's tushy.
Tushy. Call me tushy.
This is Squawk Squawk's tushy.
Squawk Squawk's tushy.
Hey, have you ever heard of TILLN podcast merch? That's right. We've got a full merch store of TILLN branded tees, mugs, stickers, hoodies, a lot more. And we put out new designs with every episode, but those are only available for a limited time, so you got to get those while they're hot. Text TILLN to 66866 to get access to our exclusive merchandise.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so he ended up getting arrested. They caught him.
He had a really good system. Ducks in a row. I mean, there was nothing they got on him.
Until they got him.
He ended up getting arrested.
Tushy, they got him.
Tushy, they got him.
So what happened? What happened was, that guy Blandino?
Blandon?
Yes.
Okay. You just call him Blandino?
Yeah, where did that come from? Why did I think?
I don't know, dude. Blandon?
Yeah, Blandon. So Blandon was a longtime associate of Rick.
Yes.
Right?
I know who he worked for.
Who?
The government.
Sort of. So Blandon had ties to the Nicaraguan Contra. Which, do you know? Have you probably heard of the Iran Contra scandal? Have you heard of that? This could be a whole nother episode. Really, really fast rundown of the Iran Contra scandal. In the 80s, there's this group in Nicaragua called the Contra. And they were a rebel group trying to overthrow a communist government.
I know about their band. Contraband?
Oh.
They got good. I heard they got the music's so good they're not allowed in prisons.
I honestly wonder if that's where that term came from. I'm not gonna lie. No, actually, it doesn't. Anyways, so
the Contra.
So yes, the Contra. They were trying to overthrow their government because it was a communist regime. Mm-hmm. Reagan loved them, and he was like, they resemble our forefathers.
Yes, they're trying to Yes.
They supported the Contra big time.
Yep.
The problem with that is the Contra were the biggest cocaine supplier in the world.
Yes.
That's where they got their money from.
Yes.
And so that's
yes.
Blandon.
Blandon was part of the Contra.
Blandon was part of the Contra. That's where he was getting all the cocaine and how he was supplying Rick Ross.
But they were letting Rick Ross away with it so that he could essentially fund the Contra so that they could overthrow.
Sorta. So, the Iran-Contra scandal hit this fever pitch when the Iran hostage crisis happened.
Right.
Where Reagan was like, we will do anything we can to get these people home. And the government said, anything? Okay. And so the military basically gave $30 million in weapons to Iran to let these people go.
Yes.
But under the table, they distributed some of that money. I don't know exactly how much. I want to say $3 million, but I don't know exactly how much. But they funneled some of that money to the Contra, which helped them make a lot more money and make in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
And helped them make a lot more
cocaine
and distribute a lot more cocaine.
Yes.
So Rick Ross was in this train of really government-funded cocaine.
Yes.
And so I think there is a level to they didn't want that to get out. So anybody along that line kind of was okay. Got a pass. Well, after some things came to light about the Iran-Contra scandal and it was hitting the news and there was Reagan was standing trial for it, this Blandon was recruited by the CIA to do sting operations. And they were basically like, we'll give you amnesty if you help us catch everybody. And so Blandon, at this time, Rick was like, yeah, I'm done with the drug game. I'm ready to get out. I'm
just doing apartments now.
Billions of dollars. Yeah, I'm just going to build apartments and lease them out. And so he's completely ready to get out. It's been about a month since he's sold any drugs. Blandon is all over him. He's hitting his pager and he's like, bro, come down to San Diego. And he's like, nah, man, I don't do that anymore.
Because the government knew that Rick Ross was selling the stuff.
They
just couldn't nail him down.
Yeah.
So they're trying to hook him back in, which I feel like. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so they're trying to get him back in, and essentially what Blandon was trying to do was saying, hey, I need you to connect me with somebody, not sell drugs. I need you to connect me so I can continue to do business. And so finally Rick Ross was like, fine, I'll come down there. I'll help you make that connection. But he's like, but I'm not in the drug game anymore, so I'm not going to do anything like that.
Yeah.
But apparently that was enough for the CIA to book him, and they ended up arresting him, and they started charging him on like 47 state accounts of
oh my gosh,
drug dealing at like insane quantities because that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And so they got him on the 3-strike rule, saying you far exceeded 3 strikes because you did this in like 47 cities.
Yeah. We're going to let you off the hook for 3 of them. But that's still 44.
Yeah. And so they tried him for like literally the rest of his life. Like he had an insane amount of years of prison, where it was like he would have to live 7 times over, to pay his sentence. So he's never getting out. Well, when he gets into prison, his cellmate teaches him to read. And so he starts reading the newspaper and reading small books until eventually he works his way up and starts reading law and just learns the whole law. And then he said, hey, I was mistried. He said, they couldn't book me on all this with the 3-strike rule. And so he ends up being able to contact a lawyer.
How was he mistried though?
So basically it's a loophole in that legal system. I don't know the specifics of it, but long story short is under that 3-strike rule, you couldn't consecutively try all of those cases. It had to be 3 separate strikes. But they counted all of these.
So that was one strike.
Mm-hmm. And so he was able to go get a lawyer and get his sentence reduced down to 20 years. So in 2009, he was released from prison because he learned to read.
Wow.
Which is
which is the message.
Yeah. Learn to read.
Yeah, we have a TILLN book club. And we just really... So what we do is we start elementary students on books, and then in middle school we get them hooked on phonics. And then in high school we get them hooked on cocaine. So yeah, no.
And then in college we get them hooked on the law, so you can get out of it.
Our headquarters is in Milwaukee, and so in Cincinnati.
So he got himself out of prison, and then he wrote a book. Which
is there a girl that lives in Cincinnati that's named Natalie, and her Instagram handle is Cincinnati? This is a junior question. I think we got to Google it. I think you got to go to Instagram right now. It's one of those things, when sometimes something pops in your head and you're like, that's not going away.
I need to know.
It's like a sneeze where you're like, I got to know right now. Because there's a girl who's, I don't want to give away her Instagram handle. Never mind. But Cincinnati, I'll give away because I don't know if it's a real person yet.
Hold on. Cincinnati.
She's got to be a city blogger.
Yep. It's Natalie we have to bleep her last name.
You should have follow her?
Ooh.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
No, I just
not an appropriate account?
No, I mean, it's totally fine. It's
you thought I was going to bend your laptop.
I thought you were going to bend my laptop.
Oh, okay. I was like, who? Let me see Cincinnati.
She has 180 followers.
Oh, okay. So is she a city blogger?
No, her account's private.
Oh, okay.
She just had a good idea for a name, and she copped it.
Hey, Cincinnati.
If you're watching this, we will buy your username.
That's not an offer that I was going to make. We're not going to spend our merch money on that.
We're going to buy your username.
For how much, Tim? How much are you offering Cincinnati right now?
The value of Cincinnati, which is at least...
Hold on. The value of Cincinnati, like the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is at least $10. At most, $10. We'll buy it for $10.
I dated a girl from Cincinnati once.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it Natalie?
Yeah. That's why I brought this up. Cincinnati. That's what I called her. Natty. If you see this, it's not over. Everyone go follow her.
She just all of a sudden
Dude, I hope that she's so inactive on Instagram and all of a sudden she just gets a ton of new followers.
She's like, man, I just kind of
Cincinnati. We're inviting you on this show. We're inviting you on the show.
In years, but you'll be our first.
You'll be our first in years. Yeah.
Cincinnati. Anyways, so he got out. He wrote a book, kind of telling his story, and then he sued the rapper Rick Ross and lost.
So you can't use my name.
Yeah, literally.
And then Rick Ross was like, "This is my name." What is Rick Ross's actual name?
Rick Ross's actual name is William Leonard Roberts II.
Oh yeah, well, that's you can't rap that.
Yeah, and Rick Ross, apparently early in his career was like, "Yeah, I'm named after Freeway Ross," and Rick Ross was like, "No, you're not. You can't." And honestly, there's some pictures where it kind of looks like he's trying to look like Rick Ross, Freeway Ross.
Yeah.
Like the rapper.
So now Rick Ross has got to be out here like, I'm actually named after Bob Ross's son. It's less exciting that way, but whatever.
Yep. So they got the lawsuit, and it was Rick Ross lost because he's like, I mean, it's a Rick Ross. It's not it's not like you didn't have a trademark.
It's Rick.
And the name is Rick Ross. It's a pretty common name. So he lost that lawsuit.
It's not Cincinnati, okay?
It's not unique enough.
Who do you think you are?
But yeah, so now he wrote the book, and he's trying to get into the legal marijuana business because he's like, I know a lot about it. Yeah.
No, I got you.
And he's trying to build a decent life for himself post prison.
What happens to all your properties if you get arrested for 20 years?
You know what? I actually don't know. I would assume the bank would foreclose on him.
You think so?
Well, I mean, if you had a mortgage, if you didn't have a mortgage, I don't know.
You're doing $3 million a day. You think you're not paying off those houses?
Yeah, that's a good point.
What happens to your property?
I don't know. So Rick Ross today. Here's the thing that's interesting about him. I honestly believe two things about this guy, and by two things I mean one thing. If you watch him in his interviews today,
Yeah.
he's clearly very intelligent. He didn't know how to read, but that's not a fault of his own. It's a fault of the school system he was brought up in. But if you listen to the way he communicates and the way he forms ideas, yes, he sold drugs for most of his life and made a lot of money off of it. But and so there's like some
Are you a Rick
moral,
Ross stan?
There's some moral questions there where you're like, but honestly, I believe had the Los Angeles school system not failed him and he was able to learn to read and go to college,
we would have known him for other things.
I think he would have been a very, very successful entrepreneur. He made $2 billion off cocaine. I mean, I think we would have known him for something else and he would have made a positive impact. But instead, a lot of people attribute the cocaine issue. They say he is the distributor of the cocaine problem in the 80s. A lot of people are like, Reagan started it because of the Iran-Contra thing, obviously. But he was really the largest distributor in the country of cocaine in the 80s. And that's when cocaine became the biggest problem that it was. And so the question is, really my point is the LA school system caused the cocaine epidemic and robbed us of some great thing that Rick Ross could have done instead.
Now cocaine is not as much like a street level stuff, right? I mean, like I associate cocaine with like a certain amount of...
There's the two kinds of cocaine. Yeah. There's like the white collar cocaine, that's the powder cocaine, and then there's crack cocaine, that's kind of the street cocaine.
Okay.
And so the crack cocaine is what was cracked down on, which was pretty clearly racially motivated, where powder cocaine was very much like your white collar, like your CEOs were doing cocaine in the office.
Right.
So that was the difference there, if that's the point you're making. I'm not sure what you're...
I was I was wondering what are they fighting now? I mean, I guess the opioid crisis.
Yeah.
In the Midwest anyway.
Yeah. I think there's not as much of a...
Actually, my buddy, who's a stand-up comedian, who's now clean and sober, went to a facility in Ohio, and he said that because he was doing meth here in Missouri. Yeah. And he said that in Ohio, it was weird that he was a meth addict because everyone there was doing heroin.
Interesting. So it's regional.
I guess so.
Interesting. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. So my thing is, and I think this is probably true of a lot of people, is he didn't have the opportunities because he didn't have a good education. And so he took the opportunity he had and he made something pretty amazing out of it, even though it was black market and ultimately harmed a lot of people's lives. I think there's a lot more stories like this where you have kids coming up in neighborhoods where they don't have good opportunities, and so they have a choice. It's, do you work at McDonald's for a few bucks an hour, or do you make do you sell cocaine for millions? you know, like it's kind of a clear. It's like that one option's illegal, but it's like I'll take my chances.
But it's like, dude, I have lung cancer, and this teaching job I have is not going to pay the bills. Yeah. So it's either keep teaching and try to leave my family with a bunch of debt, or make very good crystal meth. Right under the nose of my brother-in-law DEA agent with a former junkie from high school. And
make it proprietary by dyeing it blue.
Right. So that way I know that if someone else is stealing the recipe, then it's mine.
Yes.
Take out the kingpin, become the next kingpin.
Shave your head.
Obviously. I thought we're way past that. You got to shave your head before you become the kingpin. And at the end, just let it all crumble in, but die with the satisfaction that you did something with your life.
Whoa. You telling me he died?
Bro, he's dead. He died at the end, for sure.
I haven't finished that yet.
You haven't finished that yet?
I haven't finished that yet.
I don't feel bad spoiling something that's been out for 10 years. I don't know what to tell you. Well, I guess the finale came out 2012.
Did it really?
Yeah. 10 years. Dude, I'm not an idiot. Yeah. Yeah. I don't feel bad spoiling something it's been 10 years, dude. Do you know how the Titanic ends?
No. Does it sink?
Do you know how Home Alone ends?
Yeah, they get him. I just watched the first 20 minutes of something and I just guessed on the end. I'm like, yeah, that's probably how it's going to end.
Oh, I got it. Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
Man, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Do you know how Fight Club ends?
Yeah, they get another fight.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, I mean, this has been Rick Ross, brought to you by Bob Ross. Fiddle Off. Hey, thanks for watching Things I Learned Last Night. If you like this episode, you can watch more right here, or you can watch some highlights. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It helps us out a lot. Also, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next week.